Knowledge is power, and applied knowledge can lead to wisdom. I think that sometimes patriarchy is a little upset that we have this thing called the internet, and especially that we have social media platforms like TikTok. And frequently, when I'm on different platforms, especially on Facebook, a person, generally a man, will say something that is kind of meant to be a threat or a warning. For example, a guy said something like, well, these single women need to get married and have kids because when they're older, they're going to regret being single and childless. Now, that is a possibility. No one can predict the future, so why he thinks he is omniscient and psychic and can do that is strange. But the reason I brought up knowledge is power is that we do have the benefit of being able to do research. And while research doesn't tell us how we're going to respond, it can give us a glimpse into other people's experiences. And from other people's experiences, we can sometimes make a more informed decision. So when you look at research, which you can Google pretty much anything that you want to know about relationships, you can Google how many marriages or what percentage of marriages are happy and healthy. And from my research, about 40%. I've mentioned many times about the 5 types of marriages, devitalized, conflicted, traditional, harmonious, and vitalized. And only the last two, harmonious and vitalized, are considered healthy marriages. So that's about 40% of relationships. So if you get married, you know that you can do all of the research that you want on what makes a relationship healthy and happy. And you can arm yourself with that and try to help yourself be in that 40%. You can also Google who's the happiest groups in America. From the research that I've read, it's married men and single childless women. You can also Google whether single childless women regret not having kids. From what I've read, about 25% do, but about 14% of married women with children regret having kids. And about 70% of women, 70 to 80%, regret getting married, and that's why they file for divorce. So these are all things that you can read about, you can research, you can see what led up to these people having these different experiences. It's not something you have to walk into blindly anymore. It's not something where you have no way to come to a conclusion. Like you just have to go off of some voice on the internet that's telling you doom and gloom. And whenever I put those stats out there, some men just be quiet because I guess they don't realize that women can look things up. We can research. We can, and it's not just on things like that. Somebody put a post up, a meme up, and it said that on Denzel Washington's first date with his wife, Pauletta, he ran out of money for the cab and she paid for the cab. And now they just celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary. Now, I am very happy that they have beaten the odds. And I think that's an incredible amount of time to be together. And they look extremely happy. And he talks about her in such a glowing way that I'm just ecstatic for them. That story, though, being used to tell women that they should settle for a man who didn't bring cab fare or needed help to pay for the date isn't going to go over the way some men think it's going to be, because they want women to say, oh my gosh, the broke man could be Denzel. But what I wrote in response to that was, congratulations on all their success and, all the other things I said. But do you realize that he asked her out after they had been working together on a film, after they had gotten to know each other very well, after she had been able to see what kind of person he was over an extended period of time, see how he reacted to pressure and challenges and stress, and see his character up close and personal in a way where he wasn't able to wear a mask as effectively as some people can wear a mask in the few days before you might go on a first date, or the few conversations before you might go on a first date. So their first date was not the type of first date that most people have, where you're going out with a person who you have really not that much knowledge of, and you haven't had an extended period of time to get to know them. So putting that kind of standard on a modern woman isn't fair. And also, 35 years ago, men were very different. We didn't have the manosphere 35 years ago. We didn't have INCELS 35 years ago. We didn't have the red PILL 35 years ago. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have the soft man era or the soft guy era 35 years ago. The stats on men in the last 35 years have gone down. Men are twice as likely than women to live at home with their parents now than they were 35 years ago. Men are much more likely to be unemployed and less likely to have graduated from high school or college, because those rates have been dropping. And while at the same time, women's rates of graduation from high school and college have been rising. Men are twice as likely as women to have problems with drug addiction and alcohol use. And I think it was 4 times more likely to have mental health issues and to have contemplated unaliving themselves. And I think the actual unaliving rate of men is 3.7 times that of women. So a lot of things are different from 35 years ago. So